You've been lied to about availability. They told you to be there for people, to be responsive, to show up whenever someone needs you. And look where that got you: exhausted, overlooked, and surrounded by people who take you completely for granted. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. The moment you became easily accessible, you destroyed your value. People don't respect what's always available. They respect what's scarce, they chase what retreats, and they worship what remains just out of reach. You think being a good person means being available. It doesn't. Being available just makes you convenient, and convenient people get used, not respected. Think about it. When was the last time someone truly appreciated your instant responses? When did dropping everything for someone actually make them value you more? Never. Because human psychology doesn't work that way. We're wired to pursue, to hunt, to desire what we can't easily have. The moment you make yourself a sure thing, you become invisible. Right now, you're losing opportunities you don't even know about. While you're responding to every text within seconds, while you're saying yes to every request, while you're bending over backward to accommodate everyone's schedule, other people far less competent than you, are being treated like royalty. Why? Because they understand scarcity. They understand that the harder something is to obtain, the more valuable it becomes in the human mind. You're giving away premium access to yourself at bargain bin prices, and you're wondering why nobody treats you like you're worth anything. The financial cost is real. Accessible people make less money, period. When you're always available, you signal that your time isn't valuable. Would a surgeon answer your call at midnight because you have a question? Would a top lawyer drop everything to accommodate your last-minute request? No, because their scarcity is built into their value proposition. But you're training people that your time is worthless. Every instant response, every schedule you clear, every boundary you fail to set, it's all teaching the world that you don't matter enough to have limits. The emotional toll is even worse. You're building relationships based on convenience, not genuine connection. People don't miss you because they don't have to. You're always there, always waiting, always ready to serve, and deep down, you know it. You feel it every time someone takes 3 days to respond to you while expecting you to reply instantly. You feel it when someone only reaches out when they need something. You feel it in the hollow interactions that pass for friendship, but you keep being available anyway, hoping that somehow, magically, your accessibility will transform into appreciation. It won't. Let me tell you what happens when you finally withdraw your availability. At first, people panic. They're used to having instant access to you, and suddenly that access is gone. They'll test you. They'll get upset. They'll accuse you of changing, of being difficult, of not caring anymore. This is the filtering process. The people who react this way are the ones who only valued you for your convenience. They're revealing themselves. Watch them closely. The ones who respected you as a person will adapt. They'll adjust to your boundaries. They'll appreciate the time you do give them because it's no longer guaranteed. The others will fade away. And good riddance. You want to know the secret that powerful people have always known? Availability is weakness. Nietzsche wrote about the will to power, about how life itself is the struggle for dominance and hierarchy. You think that's abstract philosophy. It's playing out in your text messages right now. Every time you're available, you're submitting. Every time you make someone wait, you're asserting dominance. It's not cruel, it's nature. People test for status constantly, unconsciously. Your response time, your willingness to accommodate, your eagerness to please, these are all status signals. And you've been broadcasting low status your entire life. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He wrote that it's better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But there's a deeper principle here. Scarcity creates reverence. The prince who appears rarely is spoken of with wonder. The prince who mingles constantly with the common people loses his mystique. You don't have to be cruel. You don't have to be cold. You just have to be scarce. Your presence needs to be an event, not a given. Think about the people you respect most. Are they constantly available? Are they always responding, always accommodating, always bending to others' schedules? No, they're selective. Their time is protected. Their attention is valuable. And because it's valuable to them, it becomes valuable to everyone else. This is how status works. This is how respect is earned, not through service but through scarcity. Here's what nobody tells you about boundaries. They're not just defensive, they're offensive. When you set real boundaries around your time and attention, you're not just protecting yourself from being used. You're actively creating desire. You're making people want your attention more. It's counterintuitive, which is why most people never figure it out. They keep thinking that giving more will make them more valued. But humans don't work that way. We assign value based on scarcity, not abundance. Let's talk about what actually happens in your relationships when you stop being accessible. That friend who texts you at 2 a.m. with drama, when you stop responding immediately, two things happen. Either they find someone else to dump on, proving they never really valued you specifically, just your availability, or they start respecting your boundaries and reach out at reasonable times with real conversation. Either way, you win. You either eliminate a toxic relationship or improve an existing one. Your boss, who expects you to answer emails at all hours? When you establish clear boundaries, one of two things happens. Either they respect those boundaries and your actual work performance speaks for itself, or they reveal themselves as someone who values performative availability over actual results, in which case you're working for the wrong person anyway. But here's what usually happens. They respect you more because you've signaled that your time has value, that you're not desperate, that you have options. The romantic interest who only texts you when they're bored or want something, the moment you become less available, you'll see their true nature. If they actually care about you, they'll pursue harder. They'll make real plans. They'll respect your time. If they don't, they'll disappear. And you'll have saved yourself months or years of being someone's backup option. Scarcity in dating isn't playing games. It's having enough self-respect to not be someone's convenient option. Now, here's where it gets interesting. People will tell you this is manipulative. They'll say you're playing games, being fake, acting like you're too good for everyone. These are the same people who have been taking advantage of your availability. Of course, they don't want you to change. Your accessibility served them. Your boundaries threaten their access to free emotional labor, free advice, free support. They'll try to guilt you back into your old patterns. Don't fall for it. The dark truth about human nature is this: we don't value what we don't work for. You've been giving yourself away for free, and people treat free things accordingly. They use them carelessly. They don't maintain them. They throw them away when something better comes along. The moment you start charging for your time, not with money necessarily, but with effort, with respect, with reciprocity, everything changes. People suddenly see value because they have to work for it. This is why exclusive clubs exist, why luxury brands maintain scarcity, why celebrities hide behind gates and handlers. It's not just about privacy, it's about value creation through inaccessibility. You think Elon Musk became powerful by being available to everyone who wanted his time. He guards his attention jealously because attention is the most valuable resource in the modern world, and you're giving yours away like it's nothing. Let me paint you two pictures. In the first, you continue being accessible. You respond immediately. You accommodate everyone's schedule. You're helpful, available, reliable, and 10 years from now, you're still doing the same thing, still wondering why people don't appreciate you, still feeling drained and undervalued. The same people are still treating you the same way, because you've trained them that this is acceptable. You've taught them that you're always there, always available, always ready to serve. In the second picture, you withdraw your accessibility starting today. You become selective with your time. You start making people work for your attention. And yes, some people get upset. Some relationships end. But here's what else happens. The people who remain start treating you better. Your boss stops expecting 24/7 availability because you've shown it's not an option. Your friends start planning ahead because they know they can't just summon you at will. Romantic interests start putting in actual effort because your attention isn't guaranteed. And slowly, methodically, your entire life reorganizes around respect instead of convenience. You start getting invited to better opportunities because scarcity signals value. People assume someone who's always available isn't very important. But someone who's selective with their time, they must be doing something valuable. They must matter. This is status signaling at its most fundamental level, and whether you like it or not, humans are status-driven creatures. We can't help it. It's how we're wired. Here's a thought experiment. Imagine two identical people with identical skills and personalities. Person A responds immediately to every message, accommodates every request, is always available. Person B takes a day to respond, books out their calendar weeks in advance, and is selective about who gets their time. Who do you instinctively perceive as more successful, more important, more valuable? Be honest. You know the answer. We all know the answer. Scarcity creates perceived value even when the underlying worth is identical. The really uncomfortable truth is that people will test how much they can take from you, not because they're evil, but because it's human nature. We push boundaries to see where they are. If you have no boundaries, people will take everything. They'll take your time, your energy, your emotional resources until you're completely depleted, and then they'll move on to someone else. Because you trained them that this was acceptable behavior. Think about the last time someone treated you poorly. Really poorly. What did you do? If you're like most people, you tried to understand their perspective. You made excuses for them. You stayed accessible, hoping they'd see your value and treat you better. Did it work? Or did they just continue treating you poorly, knowing you'd accept it? Accessibility without boundaries is just permission to mistreat you. Now, think about someone you know who commands respect. Someone people don't take advantage of. What's different about them? It's not that they're necessarily smarter or more talented than you. It's that they're less accessible. They have standards for how they're treated. They're willing to walk away. And that willingness, that scarcity of their presence, is what protects them. People treat them well because treating them poorly means losing access entirely. This is power dynamics at their most basic. Robert Greene writes about this in the 48 Laws of Power. Law 16, use absence to increase respect and honor. The more you're seen and heard, the more common you appear. Create value through scarcity. Law 4, always say less than necessary. The more you say, the more likely you are to say something foolish. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. Your constant availability, your instant responses, your eagerness to engage. It's all saying too much. It's reducing your mystique to nothing. But here's what most people miss when they read about power dynamics. It's not about being cold or cruel. It's about valuing yourself enough to have standards. When you're constantly accessible, you're signaling that you have no better options. You're advertising that nothing in your life is more important than whoever happens to be demanding your attention right now. Is that true? Is your life really so empty that you can drop everything for anyone at any time? Or have you just been acting like it is? The transformation starts the moment you decide your time is valuable, not when other people decide it. When you decide it, you don't need permission to set boundaries. You don't need to justify having a life. You don't need to apologize for not being instantly available. These are the lies that kept you trapped. The truth is, you can simply stop. Stop responding immediately. Stop accommodating unreasonable requests. Stop being available to people who don't respect you. Watch what happens. The people who genuinely care about you will adapt. They'll appreciate the time you do give them more, because it's no longer unlimited. They'll plan better. They'll reach out with more intention. Your relationships will actually improve because they'll be based on mutual respect instead of one-sided convenience. The people who don't adapt, they're showing you who they always were. Users, takers, people who only valued you for what you could do for them. In business, this principle is everything. You know why consultants charge outrageous fees? Because scarcity and price signal value. A consultant who's available immediately and charges little is perceived as desperate, low quality. The exact same consultant with the exact same skills who books out months in advance and charges premium rates, suddenly they're in demand. The work is identical. The perception is completely different because humans use scarcity as a proxy for value. Always have, always will. Your career suffers when you're too accessible. Your boss knows they can always count on you so they never have to worry about losing you. Why would they promote you or give you a raise? You've already accepted the current arrangement. You're reliable, stable, available. These sound like compliments, but they're actually career death sentences. The people who get promoted are often less competent but better at managing their scarcity. They're the ones who create the impression that they might leave, that they have options, that their loyalty isn't guaranteed. This is the game nobody explains to you. While you're being honorable and reliable and available, other people are playing chess. They're managing perceptions. They're creating scarcity where none exists. They're making themselves seem more valuable, more in demand, more essential, and it works. Because at the end of the day, humans are pattern recognition machines. We use shortcuts to assess value, and accessibility is a shortcut that screams low value. Let me be crystal clear about what I'm not saying. I'm not saying be an asshole. I'm not saying ignore people who genuinely need you. I'm not saying relationships don't require investment in showing up. What I'm saying is that showing up constantly, being available endlessly, accommodating without boundaries, that's not virtue. That's self-destruction masquerading as kindness. Real kindness involves respecting yourself enough to have limits. Real relationships can handle boundaries. Real value requires scarcity. Here's the uncomfortable realization you need to sit with. Every time you've been instantly available, every time you've dropped everything for someone, every time you've prioritized their needs over your boundaries, you weren't being noble. You were being afraid. Afraid they wouldn't like you. Afraid they'd leave. Afraid you weren't valuable enough to make weight. And that fear has been controlling your entire life, shaping every relationship, sabotaging every opportunity, because people can smell fear, and they exploit it. The moment you stop being afraid, the moment you genuinely believe your time and attention are valuable, everything shifts. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to make a big declaration. You just start acting like someone whose time matters. You delay responses. You check your calendar before committing. You say no without excessive explanation. You create space between stimulus and response, and people start treating you differently because you're treating yourself differently. This is the secret that confident people know instinctively. Your treatment of yourself sets the standard for how others treat you. If you act like your time is worthless, people will treat it as worthless. If you act like your attention is precious, people will treat it as precious. It's not manipulation, it's just honest signaling. You're telling the truth about your value through your behavior. The question is, what truth are you currently telling? You've reached the moment of clarity. Everything I've told you, you already knew. Deep down, you felt it every time someone took you for granted. Every time your instant response was met with a delayed reply. Every time your accommodation was met with more demands. Every time your availability was rewarded with disrespect. You knew, but knowing isn't enough. You have to act. Starting today, you're going to treat your time like the finite, precious resource it actually is. You're going to delay responses, not as a game, but because you have a life worth living that doesn't revolve around everyone else's demands. You're going to check your calendar before committing, because your existing priorities matter. You're going to say no to things that don't serve you because your energy is limited and valuable. And you're going to watch with clarity you've never had before, as people sort themselves into two categories, those who respect you and those who only valued your convenience. The people who only valued your convenience will reveal themselves quickly. They'll get angry. They'll accuse you of changing. They'll try to guilt you back into your old patterns. Let them go. They were never your people anyway. The ones who respect you will adjust. They'll appreciate your time more. They'll reciprocate your effort. They'll build actual relationships with you instead of transactional arrangements disguised as friendship. This is the purge you needed, but were too afraid to initiate. Your value doesn't come from how available you are. It comes from who you are, what you can do, and how you treat yourself. The world will never value you more than you value yourself. Never. If you treat your time as worthless, the world agrees. If you treat your attention as precious, the world has no choice but to acknowledge it. This isn't philosophy. This is observable reality. Test it. Watch what happens when you become less accessible. Watch respect appear where there was only expectation before. Subscribe if you're ready to stop being everyone's convenient option and start being someone's valued choice. The accessible version of you got you here. Overlooked, overextended, undervalued. The scarce version of you will take you somewhere entirely different. The question is, are you brave enough to become unavailable to people who never valued you in the first place? Your availability was their weapon against you. Take it back. Claude is AI and can make